Welcome to the Artist Outreach. I'm Joseph Vincelli, the Executive Director and founder of the organization. I'm here with Joel McCrae, the Director of Social Media. We began this program and this initiative because we saw a real need for more advancement, for more innovation. Here we are, two musicians, and you think, well, how does that pertain to innovation? And actually, creativity has a lot to do with innovation, whether it be in business, or in the sciences, or in the arts. And when I started writing my book, Joel, The Art of Tone, I certainly started to understand the passion that I had for music, but I kept looking for the reasons as to why. And the more research that I did, really the more research that I did all over the United States. I had many opportunities to read several different books way before Google had existed, and I realized that there was a lot of composers that felt that way. And the more research I did, the more I realized that the passion is what drives creativity. And so I've been performing and recording music for 25 years of my life, being a musician for 35 years, and one of the missing links that I kept seeing in education every time I would do a workshop was that I would realize that students were having less and less opportunity to see the educational aspects of creativity because of rather lack of funding or maybe the lack of time in the school. And so I decided to start really making an initiative to change this. And that is really the purpose for the Artist Outreach. I've been performing workshop programs for several years as I go out on tour as a musician and a recording artist. And I've learned that innovation is really about abstract thinking. And abstract thinking comes from the creative mind, from the right-brainer. And so, what is it that we're doing that's so different than what's being done in the schools?
Is that there has not been, in their mind, a connection between what they're imagining in their mind and what they're learning through the process. Is that they're going through and they're learning great information, very powerful information, but it doesn't really connect to who they think they are. And so I've always kind of really connected with your passion and your thoughts. Is like, how do we actually engage the creativity and the purpose and passion of the student and give them some principles and tools to say, if this is what you're imagining, here's a process of you being able to execute what you
Well, we live in a very advanced technological world, and so there's a lot of one of the things that never really changes. It's rather a constant. Is that innovation comes from the human being. It comes from each individual, and so essentially that's what I want to get across to the student. Is that we're using the conduit of music. We'll also use the conduit of dance and photography, interior design, architecture. There's all kinds of different forms of art. But what we're trying to really get across to the students is learning how to learn, learning how to innovate, learning how to think on their own, the self-discovery, the self-exploration. That coupled with the great education that they're getting, it allows them opportunities to do whatever they want to do. Now, if I look at all of the things that I do in my life, all the things that I have done, it really comes back to improvisation. I'm touted as a jazz musician, but really, I'm an improviser. I improvise with everything that I do. And the irony of improvisation is, of course, the more you do it, the better you become at it, just like any other practice. And one of the things that we want to be able to bring across to students is that we can do this, they can do this with any kind of form of art. They tie it in also with the practice that they do with their sports and the study that they do with their education that they're getting in the class.
I think that's a very powerful thing, is really getting one to see that that really the sciences don't necessarily create, but they explain.
Yeah.
And it's kind of stepping back and saying that even in technology, as they say, garbage in, garbage out, that technology is only as good as the programmer.
Yeah,
And
the sciences are a crucial backbone.
Definitely.
But it's the arts and the forms of creativity that will spring forward ideas. And, you know, the more abstract thinking you can have, the more space you can allow in your mind, the more ideas there are to be filled up.
That's right.
Whereas if it's all combined in one area, then there's not as much, there's not room for ideas to happen. And that's really what the artist outreach is about. We're reaching out through the forms of art, expressing yourself through the power of the arts.